Hi everybody, this is Coach McCreary from Baseball by the Yard. Today's video tip is for base runners, and it involves rounding first base properly. Now, with a lot of young kids, often young kids are taught to be very aggressive when they round first base, and for the most part, that's a good general tip that most runners are going to want to do. However, you got to be careful as you get older because outfielders and infielders start to have stronger arms, and you want to be careful about aggressively rounding first base. Let me give you an example here. First off, I'm going to go with a concept that I usually try to teach my players, and that is when you're rounding first base, you want to think of it as squaring up, and when I say squaring up, I mean squaring up your shoulders. Square up with the outfielder who has the ball, and that will determine how far you ran around the base. So we're first going to take a look at a scenario where there's a base hit to right field. Now, when you watch major leaguers round first base on a base hit to right field, you'll notice they don't really venture too far from first base. If you look at this red line, it's basically the path that a lot of major leaguers are going to take. It isn't really a big turn at first base, and some young players may think that they're being lazy by not being aggressive around first base, but there's a reason why they do that. When they round the first base on a base hit to right field, you'll notice that the runner basically just squares his shoulders up to where the outfielder is, then he stops and goes back to first base. So he doesn't really take too many steps beyond first base. Let me show you what would happen if someone was aggressively rounding first base on a ball hit to right field. So let's say in this scenario, this runner is very aggressive in rounding first base, and it has ended up squaring up his shoulders to either the center fielder or even the left fielder. And when that occurs, often you'll start to see throws made back behind the runner, and sometimes very easily pick him off because he ventures too far from first base. Proper way to do it is to just round first base enough to square your shoulders to the right fielder and then turn around and come back to the bag. Now let's take a look at a ball hit to center field. Because center field is farther from first base than right field was, the runner is going to be able to be a little bit more aggressive when they're rounding first base. So you'll see here they will round first base and square their shoulders up to the outfielder, in this case the center fielder, which allows him to travel a little farther away from first base before he stops, turns around, and comes back to first base. And of course, on a hit to left field, the left fielder is the farthest from first base, and that's going to allow the runner to round first base a little further in order to square up his shoulders to him. And you can see by this demonstration here, the runner can almost go halfway sometimes before they have to turn around and come back. Now, you want to be careful here. There's no absolutes here when it comes to base running, and a lot of it is going to depend on where you are in relation to first base at the time the outfielder catches the ball. If you touch the bag before the outfielder catches the ball, then you usually can take a little bit longer of a turn. However, if the outfielder gets to the ball before you touch first base, that often will limit your ability to round the bag. So you want to be careful. There's no absolutes, but in general, a good tip, a good concept to give your base runners is to, when you're rounding first base, square their shoulders up to the outfielder who has the ball, and that will determine how much they round the base. Well, for more tips in all areas of the game, make sure you go to my website, baseballbytheyard.com. And this is Coach McCreary signing off, and thanks for watching, everybody.